Sitaram, assalamu alaikum, Sairam, and good morning, everyone. Good evening. It's been a long day. I want to welcome all of you, and we have a special guest tonight. The one and only Pandit Ji Parasaram Maharaj. Welcome, Pandit.
Thank you.
And I want to say this is being broadcast through U97.5 FM, through ZMB Communications Limited. And they're located at Fred's Plaza, 26 Eastern Main Road in San Juan. And their numbers are 292-6470 and 392-2986. And I want to say thank you for all you viewers on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and all of you that are listening in your cars or at home. Now, if you want to WhatsApp some questions in during the program, you can WhatsApp it to 354-4459. But don't WhatsApp while you're driving, okay? So Pandit, welcome.
Thank you.
And Sitaram.
Sitaram.
So I need you to speak up just a little more, Pandit. Act like you're vexed at me. All right? So, Pandit, how long have you been practicing being a Pandit?
Well, I actually grew in it because from childhood, we were there. And on both sides family, we have the mother side family and father side family. So we keep growing in it. And from the first year when I went outside with my grandmother to do officiate in a prayer by myself, it was approximately a little more than 9 years, not 10. I was just between 9 and 10 because it was in the month of August and it was school holiday. And my great-grandfather was not well. And this lady came and requested that let the great-grandson come and do the prayers. So I went. I wanted to play big, so I wrote everything on a paper and I rolled it up on my finger with the beginning of each mantra. And that's how I started off with the first in St. Julian.
That's quite a long time.
Yes.
So that's why I brought you on. I wanted a person with a lot of experience. I wanted a person that has a passion to do prayers and God's work the right way. And I wanted your expertise and your opinions on some of the things we're going to talk about tonight. So everybody, tonight, what we're talking about, and everybody can listen because you're going to learn. But this really educates and answers a lot of questions that Hindus have, that what they're seeing every time. Now, before we go into it, Pandit, everybody has noticed, even in the States, it hit the national news, that every belief, every organization within the beliefs are losing a lot of people. They've stopped participating in temples, mosques, churches, the children especially. They're not getting answers. Sometimes they're quarreled with because when a young person asks a spiritual leader a question, some spiritual leaders, not all, they get upset. They feel like you're challenging them. But as you know, as a spiritual leader, we're not supposed to think that way.
No, we are not supposed to.
And there's no stupid question. You know, so let me ask you something. What is the minimum steps? The number of minimum steps in a typical puja?
Well, it
Minimum.
is 5. There are 5 minimum steps, and there's the next one is the next stage is 10, and then 16. It is called Pancho Prakar, which is the 5 steps, Dasu Prakar, which is 10 steps, and Socho Prakar, which is the full 16 steps.
Right. And if you typically did the 16 steps, and not in a rush mode, but to take your time and do it right, what is the average time period?
It will go for more than an hour and a half, or sometimes 2 hours, depends on how efficient the person is who is performing as the Shruta, that is the person who has asked the Pandit to.
Like if they have any knowledge
Yes.
of what the pundit's saying.
Yes. So once they are accustomed, it could go to about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on what puja they are doing. Because every puja will take a little more.
They differ a little
Yes,
bit.
differ.
They have little variables.
Yes.
So now, I want to ask a couple more little questions. And some of these actually came in to where we can, ask during this program. And I have some for preachers too. So we're going to have preachers on, we're going to have imams on. But, so wouldn't it be hard, but before I say this, how long would it take on the average for the 5 minimum steps to take place?
It could take about an hour.
Okay. So now we've went from 2.5, doing the 16 steps,
Yeah.
to approximately about an hour
Yes.
to do 5 steps. Now, I'm going to turn that mic off. So, my question is, how are spiritual leaders doing prayers 30 minutes and 40 minutes? I don't want to put you on the spot. So what we're actually saying by the time periods that has been laid out is that they're not doing the full 5 steps. They're taking maybe
Less.
little less shortcuts
Yes.
to make sure we get down to those 30 minutes.
Yes.
Now, Pundit, you knew I had a guru, and he always told me, you get out of your prayers what you put into your prayers.
Yes.
Is that a correct statement?
That is a very correct statement.
So, now sometimes, we have to play fair here, okay? Sometimes the Shrotas put pressure on the Pundit to get it done quicker. That has been done.
That is one of the things that could happen. The next thing is, if we are dealing with a person who is not very well, but has the wish to do the prayers also, we have to make adjustments. Sometimes a member of the family will sit and perform, and they will just touch hands, and or perhaps the person might be on a chair or something one side, and just touching hand and praying. And in this way, you could be able to do it, and with their thought in mind, and they are also focusing, but it takes about the same time.
Correct. So again, the 16 steps is approximately 2 to 2.5 hours. The 5 steps is approximately 30 minutes. That's if everybody's kind of fluid in what they're doing.
Yeah.
And the pundit don't have to explain everything that he's going through. Now, the preparation. Let's say the pan leaf. Now, for the past, I don't know, what, 10, 12 years? Could be a little longer.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of people change the way it's laid out by cutting the tip of the pan leaf off. You've seen it too, correct?
Yes, I have seen it.
Okay.
Actually, I stopped a few people from doing it
Well-
because the Mother Lakshmi
I gotta applaud you.
resides on the tip of the palm leaf.
Exactly. Now, everybody out there that's listening, driving or whatever, they talk about, now one of the reasons why they say they cut it off is due to impurities.
Yes.
Correct.
Biologically, some people say that the tip is collecting the dripping of the water, and the stem portion is where a lot of dirt gathers.
Okay. So, but as you know, but I don't think a lot of the Hindus are aware of this, that within the pan leaf, certain deities reside
Reside, yes,
within that pan leaf.
yes,
So you'll have Vishnu, you have Shiva, you got the stem, you got the outer line with Surya,
yes.
along with Vishnu too. But as you stated, and I want everybody to understand this very clear, on the tip of the pan leaf that you're cutting off, Mother Lakshmi resides in that part of the pan leaf. So, pundit, hypothetically, because no one knows for sure, but if we cut Mother Lakshmi off of that, doesn't that hinder the prayers to a certain extent?
Yes, it will.
And everybody prays to Mother Lakshmi, and sometimes I think it's wrong, but they mainly pray to Mother Lakshmi for wealth, right? Not just to praise her and to, give her salutations, but they want wealth. Well, a lot of times people don't even understand what the term wealth means
Yes, so true.
in Hinduism. So I'm going to give you an example. About 29 years ago, I went to a Shakti temple. And I was standing in line to see the Shakti. I wanted to ask some questions, but I didn't know how to ask back then. And the people in front of me, Mother Saraswati said, "You will need to worry no more. You will be blessed with lots of wealth." Pundit, do you know that week they went out and bought a car? And they went out and did a lot of things, going in debt. But wealth means knowledge.
Yes,
It's a part of it,
yes,
is knowledge. So what I'm seeing, Pundit, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, when we're going out and we're doing the home cleanings and exorcisms and things like this, I'm not seeing very many people that's able to do an actual complete Howling on their own. Their knowledge is very basic.
yes.
And I'm not saying those people are not smart. That's not the case. What I'm seeing is whoever their leader is, it doesn't seem like they're teaching. They're not taking the time to explain and educate their devotees. What do you think about that?
Well, there is a method in which the pundits, if he knows the Agni Stapana, that is the consecration of the fire,
Correct.
he can consecrate the fire, which takes some time. Sometimes it takes about between half hour to 45 minutes for the consecration mantras and everything. And if he does that and they take a light from that and they keep the light burning all the time in their prayer room or somewhere where it is safe, they can use that. Now the problem will be because of the type of cotton that we have now for the wick, that makes a little problem. So it doesn't last as long as it used to last before. So what we can do, we take a new wick, make a light, catch it in this one, put it in the next diya, and then change the wick and put back a light from there. So the light is constant
And not out.
and not out.
Correct.
So that is a special light that you have consecrated by the fire. Now when you have it like that, for any puja, even for cremation, because I have done a few cremation where we take the fire from the house and go to do just like some people see in the Indian movies, but we take it and we have it like in a tin, and we have the light in there so it is protected from the wind. And when time to do the cremation, you take the fire from there, then light the pyre. So for that, or even for puja, or for anything that you have to do that is religious, you take and you keep that fire, because the main one is in the prayer room and it keeps burning all the time. Now in that way, if a person doesn't even know to do Agni Stapana, but it has been done properly by the Pandit, that fire can be used for any Havan or any other ceremonies. If not, then they have to learn properly how to consecrate the fire and then do the Havan.
Now, and I liked what you said, because everything takes time.
Yes.
And for the pundit or the shrota or the family that's actually doing the puja, there should not be a rush.
Yes.
There shouldn't be. Now, pundit, I'm going to give you a scenario. This has happened more than once. And I know you've never done this, but it's starting to become more apparent here in Trinidad and Tobago. I got a call. It was at 9:20 in the morning. The people never met me before, but they see us on TV. And so they called up, and my wife gave me the phone, and they said, Sitaram Master. I said, Sitaram. They said, we're here. We were supposed to do puja at 7 this morning. But the pundit just now arrived at 9, a little after 9. And I said, well, sometimes that happens.
Yes, traffic.
Right.
Sometimes we have a congestion or accident
Correct.
on the road, yes.
Right? So I said, sometimes that happens. They say, no. We understand that. Here's the problem. And they said, when the pundit arrived, he got out of his car and he stated, prayers are done. I did it on the way. Right? And the people were shocked because, they've got everything prepared. They had everything ready. And he said, let's just do one dar and plant all the jandi one time. So, pundit, that cannot, in my opinion, be a professional service from a spiritual leader.
Not as I see it either.
So at that time, we all got on the phone and we dismissed the pundit. He's never welcome to do puja there at the house again. But what I'm seeing, pundit, saying, when a person becomes a pundit, there's a responsibility
Yeah.
and there's a commitment, correct?
Yes.
Like a doctor, he's supposed to take an oath
Yes.
and he has to fulfill the commitment. But we're seeing this time and time and time again, and it's getting more rampant. Now, I have to go to break real quick. I want to say thank you to ZMB Communications Limited for sponsoring this program tonight to go over the U97.5 FM to the listeners. And they're located at Fred's Plaza, 26 Eastern Main Road, San Juan. And their numbers are 292-6470 and 392-2986. So Pundit, I'm going to give you another scenario. And this is where people are confused. I think a lot of problems we're having in every faith is that, and I hate to say this on air, but it's almost like going to BIR, right? You go into BIR to one cashier and you're supposed to do something. They say, this is what you need. And you come back, but you're not going back to that same cashier. And you get another one. And they say, no, you're missing this and this and this. Mm-hmm. Right? We don't have, in every belief, a true consistency. Now, we know that every organization within a faith,
Yes.
different organization, they'll have their little different ways of doing things. But isn't it that the main core structure is the same?
It's supposed to be the same. Yes.
We're deviating. We're customizing per puja. And this is what I'm seeing that we're lacking to get that consistency in a puja to where people can get, hopefully, blessings and results out of the puja.
Yes, because you have to work with a formula, and every formula gives you answers. And once we are not working with formulas, it means that we are not going to derive the answers that we seek.
I love that. I love that. Now, Pundit, are people, well, first of all, let's start from scratch. Before we enter the temple as regular devotees, not the pundits, aren't we supposed to remove our footwear?
Yes.
Okay. Are we, if able to, not wear leather in the temple?
No, we're not supposed to, because it takes out from your spirituality.
Can you speak up on that?
Well,
Act like you're vexed at me.
it takes it takes out from our spirituality. So we're not supposed to wear leather to go to be doing prayers, even if it's a watch, even that they take out. If
Do you know you're not supposed to wear a watch during puja? No, seriously. You're not supposed to. That's been passed down from beginning of time. Because there should be no focus on time
Yes.
within a puja. That this is the intimate time between you and God. So let's say 30 minutes into your puja, you watch your watch, right? Say, okay, God, we got to make this quick. I got to go. No, you don't do that, okay? So my guru always taught me, when you do a puja, you take your watch off. The pundit or whoever are not supposed to wear watches. Somebody out there can notify them of a time, right? He also told me, you can drink water before, but you can't drink water during a puja. Is that overkill, or is that what should be done?
Well, it is not
Unless you have a
supposed-
health issue.
It is not supposed to. It's true, except if you have a health issue. But as much as possible, it should be avoided. Whereas in our current time, I have seen many TV shows. I never drink water on the Singhasana. I never drink water also in the puja, except when I finish the puja, then I will drink something.
Correct.
My system of doing, from what my gurus have taught me, is like the person who you are doing the puja for, they are on fast. So you don't go to eat and take the salt food and then go to do the next puja, because the other person is also fasting. So you complete your day's duties, and in the end, at the last place, if you prefer to take something, you might take, or just take some water or fruit or something, just to satisfy that you have taken something at the premises of the person.
So this is what confuses people again. We're seeing the spiritual leaders drinking water during, hot tea, chubby, and that is not supposed to be at that point and at that place at that time.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
Now, let's go a little further. You put the cat out of the bag, so I'm going to bag the cat. Okay? No salt food is supposed to be eaten prior to prayers being commenced, correct?
Yeah.
Right. So my guru used to say, when your pundit arrives, you do the typical greetings
Yes.
and the procedures. But then there's one question you have to ask the pundit before he commences your puja. And the question is, Pundit, do you have any prayers after mine? And he may say, oh yes, I have 5.
Plenty.
Okay? It's fine. I don't care if you have 20. So he said, if the pundit states that he has another one after yours, you cannot give him the salt food. You give him fruits. You give him sweet rice. You give him parasad. But he said you do not pack up the salt food, because it may tempt the pundit to eat it on the way to the next prayers. But I have seen pundits eat their belly full and go to the next prayers. Now, I'm not going to ask you whether it's wrong. We all know what the answer is. And I think the pundits out there listening right now know what the answer is. The question is, if we know what the answer is, why are we still doing it? You know, this is where the quality of a spiritual leader comes in. Because let me ask you, pundit, you have a son.
Yes.
I have daughters. And it's kind of like the old saying that I heard when I came to Trinidad. And I was confused. It did not make sense to me what I heard a parent tell their children. They say, do as I say, not as I do. The same thing is happening in the spiritual institutions. They're doing one thing, but saying another. Well, wouldn't that confuse the younger generation?
Definitely, it will confuse even the older ones too.
But no, the older ones, they know.
Yes.
They know what they're seeing is wrong.
No, but some of them, you know what they do? They tell you, Baba, you don't eat, but the thing is how you live. The thing is, remember, even in the Bible it said, you do not live only by bread alone, but by the word of God.
Correct.
So if we believe in what the scriptures say, and you trust in what the scriptures say, you trust in God, why do you have to think about breaking the rules of the scriptures to think that that is survival? Because you could use a fruit, you could use a fruit juice, you could make a smoothie, and you don't have to put anything salty in it, and it will work.
Mm-hmm.
Because the more salt you put in the system, is the more trouble you also give rise to blood pressure and other disease, sickness coming too. So is a certain amount is required. You take the required amount when you have to take, and don't overdo anything. Even fruits have salt, because sugarcane is grown at salt too.
So let's get back to it again.
Yes.
I want the viewers and the listeners to really understand. Now, one of the questions you're supposed to ask the pundit after you greet him formally
Yes.
is, Pundit, do you have any prayers after mine? And if he says yes, now the listeners and the viewers know what they need to do.
Yes. But also, sometimes, like, depends on the day. Like, if it's a Trayodasi day, I would be fasting on Trayodasi. So even if I have one puja on that day, it should be, Baba, would you be taking meals with us, or will you not be taking?
Right.
That should be the appropriate question, because sometimes.
But Pundit,
Yes.
that's a valid question.
Yes.
But even if they have puja after yours, they're going to say, oh, yes, I'll take it with you. You know, we have to avoid karma.
Yes.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you're senior than me, you have a lot more knowledge than me. My guru always taught me that when you witness something that is not right, now there's a difference if it's just a little flaw. But if there's procedures being done that is totally not right, he said, you stand up, you go to the leader, whisper it in his ear, do not embarrass him,
Yes. Very.
and you correct him at that time. If you don't, you yourself is going to inherit that karma. Is that a true statement or not?
Well, there is a method also in which it could be done, in which you question in a very nice way.
That's what I said. You
Yes,
go up,
yes.
whisper in the pundit's ear.
You question in a nice way. I have seen it, or I have learned it in this way from my guru, but I see you have done it in this way. Could I understand the difference in it? In this way, he has to speak the truth. And if he tells a lie about the scriptures, he will pay the penalty for that.
But we are not inheriting karma
No,
because we're
because you
questioning.
Question it. Yes.
Correct. Everybody out there, I know when you're watching pujas being done and things being done, you know it's not right. But you yourself don't say nothing. And you turn your head. That's not proper. Now, I'm not saying go out and pick at every little thing that they're doing. I'm talking a major step.
Yeah.
Something, that's totally out of line. Another thing that I haven't liked, and I've witnessed it 3 times, Pundit, is I was there witnessing the prayers, and everybody there was Christian except for the grandpa.
Okay.
And he was laying in bed, and this was he had the wish of having the priest come in, do the last rites, but he really respected Hinduism, and he wanted the pundits to come in and do a last rites. Well, Pundit, this has to stop in this country right now. I actually stopped the puja. because he knew nobody really knew anything because they're Christian. So he didn't like the howling. He said it caused too much smoke. And then this 17-year-old girl walked in the room in tight jeans. Pandit, he got stupid. And he looked at her and goes, oh, Beti, come sit by me. And you hand me everything that I need. Pandit, that shouldn't even be there in the mind. Even if you see it, it wouldn't be in your mind during that puja, right? I'm seeing that, and that has to stop. Another thing, as we're going through all the little cliches, I actually witnessed some that you've done on TV.
Okay.
But remember when we talked about leather in the temple?
Yes.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. When you're doing a Ramayana or you're doing a satsang and prayers were done before, right?
Yeah.
Now, when the people are sitting there, and then when it's time for arti, they're carrying all their leather purses up front. And the purses are dangling down, and you watch. It's coming close to the Murti's feet,
Yes.
right? So there's a pundit around the Bedi area, and there's other junior pundits that's standing around too. And then you have the host, the major pundit that's doing the reading and stuff. Isn't it their job to politely correct the individuals?
Yes, it should be.
But evidently it's not, because every time I watch Jaggerty and Sankhya and all this, you're seeing all these things take place. And a satsang being on TV, it's not about us. I'm on TV, you're on TV. Do you think yourself as a star boy superstar?
No,
Right. You're there to do your duty.
as a missionary, yes.
Right. A servant of God. So I think we need to start installing back what they've taken away from what is supposed to be done within a temple or a church. A church, they're wearing their shoes inside, and I got another mission on that next week. But all I'm getting at, Pundit, this is why people are confused. You read one thing, but we're doing another. And it shouldn't be. Now, I'm going to give you the last 10 minutes because I want your expertise on how can we improve this? How can we do it? So have that running in your mind as I'm giving you more questions. Now, artian, or let's say salutations, bowing. You know there's different categories of bowing to a deity.
Yes.
And some, the way you bow, let's say you're standing up and put your hand down, go like this. It's 10%. I have it right here in the scripture, but we'll go through it because of time. And then there's other ways to bow. Some will lay flat on the floor.
Yes, that is called Shashtang Dandot.
Correct. Now, you get 75%. Then you have the one where only your knees and your forehead touches the floor. Your elbows are off, extending out. You get 100%. Now, a lot of people can't do that because they can't balance. But are these different postures for salutations, is it being taught?
In yoga, it is being taught,
No, 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 no.
but not on the open singhasan, or and it might be in the Sunday morning services if some people do. I'm not sure.
No, we're not saying everybody don't teach it.
Yes.
But in the general knowledge,
No,
people don't know.
People don't know in the general knowledge. That is very true.
Right. So, again, we're bringing all these examples up. And then, should people, and I've seen it, my wife saw it, my Pujari saw it when we go out. Should people have to pay for the parasad?
No. That's supposed to be an offering which is given. The prasad that is offered to the deity, that is an offering which you're supposed to put your hands like this and receive. I was cautioned for that.
And then you go up.
Yes, I was cautioned for that in Virgin Islands. I was about 30 years old. And I went, a Negro lady, she was in the university, she was working in Ministry of Education. And she said, Pandit, look what is happening. I said, what? He said, look, they are walking with the tray like this, and the people are just dipping their hand and take. That is an offering. You're supposed to put your hands like this or like this, and they're supposed to put it in your hand. That is the way in which, and then you bow to it and then partake. And I just admired what the lady said, and I commended her for it.
But isn't she doing what we were saying?
Yes.
She questioned.
Yes.
And that's what you're supposed to do.
Yes, she did. But I admired the lady. She was non-Hindu, but the way in which she said everything, it made so much sense, and it reflected that, okay, I must be alert of this. And then I started telling people this, that put your hands like this, receive it.
And I see we're about 7 till the hour. So we have about 17 minutes left. But now Pundit, I'm not here, I wasn't here to put you on the spot. I'm here because you are very experienced as a pundit. And I just wanted your truthful answers, which you gave me today. And I hope the people listening and viewing are writing this stuff down. Because this, do you know what I class it as? You know when you're in school and you do an exam?
Yes.
And every time the teacher puts a mark on your page, it deducts your grade.
Yeah.
Right? And how many do? So if we go in and we start doing all these things wrong, it's little deduction marks.
Yes.
Per individual. But the actual deduction marks is coming from the guru, because the people aren't being taught.
Yes.
And right now, you know that I'm teaching people right now. And a lot of people say I'm stupid. Now, this is spiritual leaders. They say I'm stupid for closing my businesses every Friday and taking the time and drive clear to the North Coast to do the prayers that's required for my student to progress. Now, how could a spiritual leader say that? Is it that they're not taking time with the people who he's supposed to be a guru with? You have to take time to teach, to assist, to be there with your student. I'm not seeing it, Pundit. I'm really not seeing it.
I understand, because perhaps they are taken over in other areas that they thought might need developing. But on the whole, they say take care of the pennies and the pound will take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And if we
I like that one too.
if we take care of the small things, gradually the bigger things will be taken care of. Because the root of all problems start with the small things. And when it accelerate, when we take little bit, then you take a little more, and you take a little more, and it keeps accelerating. And when it keeps accelerating, there are the places where the difficulties come later on in life, that you don't know which direction to turn because too much liberty is being given.
So let me ask you something. When liberty is given and people do end up in complications, here's the next thing that I'm seeing. Every time they go to see one, they say they have a GRAW. Now, everything in life cannot be a GRAW. There could be consequences of your actions
Yeah.
that are also slowing things down, right? So a spiritual leader should be able to see these things, assess these things, even through the patra, to a certain extent. It doesn't give you everything.
No, the patra will only tell you the
Yeah.
astrological signs.
That's it.
And based on the astrological signs, there will be certain things that it will tell. But now, you can sense some things with some individuals when they come. And you can know, okay, this individual is telling me this, but I'm having a doubt about what is being said because of the way in which they will be saying it or the approach of it. And that in itself will tell you something. Because with the experience, you'll be able to tell. Just as a teacher in a class will be able to see the students, he will hear them out, and with his experience, he will be able to pick up some things. I remember one day I was teaching, and whilst I was teaching, some of the students, I told them, I said, put away the books, just hold the paper, and I want you to do some mental calculation. I gave this couple mental calculation, and I just point, I said, okay, you tell me what you have in the paper. Well, they knew that I was a pundit and doing prayers from early stage because it was something whispered through this entire school. So that person was eating sour plum, cherry, and next one was eating cherry, and next one was eating some other thing with salt and pepper. They said, Mr. Maharaj, look, I was eating this. I said, okay, put it away. I'm not taking it away from you. Don't eat it again. I want you to give me the answer that you should have written on the paper. What is the answer? So in that way, you end up finding out things which I didn't even think, was not even thinking that she was eating salt and pepper and plums or something. But this is what happened.
Yeah.
And the truth came out. So sometimes you will be able to figure out some things that is taking place, and by questioning too, you'll be able to find certain errors there.
So I got some questions that came in,
Okay.
and I'm going to read the first one. First, it says, Sitaram, it's so good to see a pundit on this podcast with Master Eric. My question is, what is the appropriate place to plant a jandi? Is it east, west, north, or south of the property?
Okay. I will give a quick answer for that. One, it should be a clean place, although the east or the northeast is the best place.
Correct.
But if you have a neighbor and the dog kennel is right there, and the water from the washing is coming on it, would you like to put it there? The answer is no, because you would not go to quarrel with the neighbor either, but you will try to be living at peace. Just like how your tongue is in the mouth and the teeth is surrounding, you have to be able to save it from being bitten when you're eating and when you're speaking. So the same way, you live and try to live at peace and put it in a position where it is the safest place for you, but you can face the east to make your offering of your dhar and also to do pradakshina by walking around.
Right. So my guru used to say, and I'm going to put it on a piece of paper, say this is north, this is east. And you have something like that here in the corner.
Yeah.
You have up to the center of the north and center of the east to fluctuate in between. Try to keep it as close as we can to those directions, correct?
Yes, true.
Now, the next thing, a next question that came in. I think you need to put me back on real quick. Alrighty. Also, what happens if someone goes to a pundit and have their patras read, and the pundit says they have a gra and have to do a bunch of stuff? So she means the rituals and the mantras and everything, to lessen or remove the effect of the gra. So they do it, but nothing changes. So does this mean that the pundit lied to get you to do a puja? This is an exact, I'm telling you, this is an exact question coming in.
Yes.
So that's a good question, pundit. Is it that maybe, because my guru also said, you have astrology, you have your vision, your hearing. Don't believe just what you see. Don't believe just what you hear. Look beyond what you hear and what you see.
Yes.
Right? And then you have experience.
Yes.
Experience is a must
Yes.
when it comes to advising people. So I'm going to try to answer this for you.
Okay.
Just correct me if I'm wrong. It may not be that the pundit purposely misled you. It may be he might be lacking experience. Now, pundit, 30 years ago, I used to go to the Puja stores. There were two major Puja stores in Trinidad back then.
Okay.
And I'll say them, Prem Singh's and Little Store. And back then, so after 15 years went by, they would know when my list came in because it was long. People bringing it. But I asked them, I said, clear back 30 years ago, how many people came in to buy the materials and the items needed to do a Gra Puja? And they said they averaged about 2 to 3 a month. And I said, how much do you average now? They said 60 to 70 a month. So what I'm getting at, the elders, the old pundits, they knew how to deal with situations.
Yeah.
And they knew when something probably wasn't a gra. And they would start looking into that area. Do you kind of agree or disagree?
Possibly, yes. There may be certain avenues in which they would have noticed because they were very experienced. And not only that, their spiritual energies were very, very high.
Bingo.
And because of that, they could have been able to tell many things which even would not be written in the books. Or which may be in other books, which perhaps...
But not in the actual scriptures.
Yes, yes.
Correct.
Which I perhaps have not seen yet. So the thing is, because of their experience, they could be able to tell. And not only that, they knew most of the families because they were like a family themselves.
Correct.
Because the pundit was like a part of the family. And when the pundit is like a part of the family, that is a plus, because whenever you have any difficulty, but if you keep him 100 yards away, then you're keeping yourself away too. Like we do full moon puja, and every full moon is a different message that is being given. There are 12 full moon for the year, and in the 12 full moon, everyone carries different type of benefits also. So you have like that. In the same way, those who were experienced, they could tell because of the connection of the family, they know the situation, and they will not hesitate if they had a problem to discuss it with the Pandit.
Now, one more thing. We only have 4 minutes left.
Okay.
I have to bring up, Pundit, this smokeless howling. I have to bring it up. Okay, we are seeing, and they're teaching everybody, everywhere, to put the diya in the middle with a light. And when they do the howling, they're putting in the offerings, but it's going around the diya.
Yeah.
And they're saying the mantras and they're saying swaha. Pundit, I must be senile or I have Alzheimer's. But doesn't the deities receive the offering through Lord Agni?
Yes, that is the mouth for feeding all the devatas.
Bingo. Now, what we're seeing them do, they're making the offerings in the Hawan around the diya, so it hasn't even gotten to the vapor, to where the deities can receive it. And then you're seeing them shanty after they're done, but they say they're taking it out back and burn it. So Pundit, again, I might be senile or have dementia, but if it's shantied, where's it going?
If it's shanti and it is not burned, then
It's going nowhere.
Nowhere, yes.
So why even do the howling?
They-
Are
they-
we
they-
fooling
they
the people?
They have other methods to do, because ghee is the strength of all the devatas.
That's
And
true.
if you're using ghee, you don't have to have, if you're afraid of the smoke, you don't have to have a mixture of things which you don't require to, which will not burn right there. So you could use it with the ghee, and you could also use cotton. And in some parts of Canada, in a temple from India, I noticed what they did. They dried the inside of the coconut. They lit that, and even though they have all the things inside, that was flaming, and they did the Havan with
But
that.
there's not much smoke.
Not much
That's,
smoke.
yeah, I've seen it done.
Yeah.
There's hardly no smoke come out of
Yes,
that.
there are methods to do,
But what I'm-
providing it is applied.
But what I'm getting at, Pundit,
I understand the point that this thing is
what are we
offered, yes.
teaching people? You know, this is what I'm getting at. We got younger generations.
Yeah.
And then when I ask a pundit a question in front of everybody at the doubles vendor, I said, how are they going to receive it? He said, who? So everybody, I wish we could keep going on. I mean, I'm down to the last 30 seconds. And I want to thank ZMB Communications Limited, U97.5 FM. Pundit, do you want to take the last 30 seconds and give your expertise on maybe how we can help this problem?
Well, we can help the problem. If the Havan smoke is a problem, then do it on a wick with ghee only. And in the end of it, when you want to do the mixture of the Havan, that is the time, pack the fire properly and offer it on the fire and let that be the burning.
And have the fire at the end.
Yes, in the end.
But not just have a diya
No,
and shanty
It is,
and then take it out
is-
and burn it.
It's not correct.
Correct.
The next thing I would like to say, Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers,
Yes.
wherever you are, daughter, sister, auntie, whoever you are, God bless you for being the mother and being the motivating power of the family. And whoever is there as a husband who is doing both mother and father role, God bless you too.
And you know, you got some good kudos for that. That's great. But everybody, again, happy Mother's Day. And it's been a pleasure. And Pundit, thank you so much for coming on.
God bless.
And I hope you'll come back in the future.
Okay.
But everybody, I want you to have a safe, wonderful weekend. Enjoy your day on Mother's Day, everyone. And you have a great week. see to her.